Well, I guess it's time we carried out the safety inspection here over at Tiz's shop, and the first thing I see is a bit of a problem. There's quite a lot of obstructions in the streets here. Slippery obstructions, no less. That is not acceptable. So he's failed the exterior straight off the bat. Numerous obstructions, trip and slip hazards. Bad Tiz. Let's check the interior as well, shall we? How are things in here? What is that? Is that a leak? Yep, there's definitely an interior leak here. That is unacceptable. What is causing that leak? Oh, Tiz. Tiz, this is no way to live. You can have a wet bed and everything. Oh, exposed wiring as well. Oh dear. Oh dear. This is that a pickle maker? Oh, that's got to go. Yep. Okay, we've got numerous problems upstairs here. So on the interior, we have leaky ceiling caused by upstairs water storage. We have exposed wiring and unlicensed mechanical contraptions. This will not stand. So the result of this inspection is that the premises is now closed until further notice. A fine and some recommended actions have been issued. So there's a fine of 10 diamonds, and for the recommended actions, I recommend that they pay the fine and maybe bribe the officials to look the other way in future. So I think in order to protect the citizens of Beardlandia, the only thing to do, of course, is going to have to be to close this premises down, at least until the issues can be fixed. Or, of course, an appropriate bribe can be paid. So last episode, we trapped loads of farmers in tiny farms so that we could get potatoes and therefore get lots of experience. But in between episodes, I've also been busy over here at Beardlandia itself. As you can see, we've got a bunch of new buildings that are not quite finished, but the shape of them is there. And this is actually an entire block that goes all the way round. And you may notice I've also done a little bit of terrain here as well, just to sort of vary the level of the city as we go round, because I really don't want it to be the same and be flat all the way over. But the addition of this block here really is helping to pull this together even more, and I'm very excited about getting some of these done. And of course, I do want to do some interiors as well. Primarily, this shop over here. I have an idea of what I want to do. I just need to get on and do it. But first things first, I do want to get the exterior of these buildings finished and make sure that they are ready for shops in future. And I think we'll start with this building on the end here. It's a reasonable sized building. It's not too big downstairs, but I do like the fact it has these feature walls, which are actually the walls of the neighbouring buildings, of course. But upstairs we have a little bit more space, a bit more height, and I may well put in a third floor at the top there. But on the exterior, I think we need to definitely do a lot more out here. The window has absolutely zero decoration around it, and it just looks a little bit flat right now. I also need to sort out the roofs on every single one of these buildings. So yeah, lots of little bits to do. So I think I'm just going to potter around. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 different buildings here that we actually need to sort the exterior out for. But once we have finished the exteriors out here and probably done something with the road, we can then crack on and try and get a few more shops down today, because we need to start selling some more stuff. And of course, attracting more people over here so we can maybe acquire some avatars. Who knows? So I think I'm going to start with the roofs up here because, well, I hate them when they look like this. They really need some texture. So we'll mix in some copper variants and, of course, make sure we wax them. Let's get some stairs in as well, maybe. We'll get some stripped acacia in too, just to break it up a little bit further. And we'll even flip the occasional stair upside down, because why not? And just those few little blocks make a massive difference. I've just got to go around and do the rest of the roof now. There we go, much better. The roofs are looking a little bit more tied into the rest of the village now. Excellent stuff. Now, let's sort out the front of this thing. Well, that makes a massive difference. We've added a bit of foliage, some lighting, a chain, and we've even got lots of spruce framing the window. But I think that does actually pull the front of that building together. And we just need to do the rest of them. And I've no idea what, if anything, we can actually texture this with. Nothing. It turns out the answer is absolutely nothing. But I think I've managed to make it look better nonetheless. We've just added some flowers and we've got some shutters and things like that going on. And I think we can pretty much get away with that, because luckily it's not a vast wall of this stuff. And overall, I think the front of this area here is now pretty much done. I've also sorted out this little corner here, added in another door into this building, so this actually has 2 different entrances now. And to break up this wall on the side, which was something I was hoping to be able to texture, I've actually just added in a window and a shutter, and I think that does the job just nicely. But now it's time to sort out this side here. We do still need to get some texturing in at the top as well, and we just need to make sure that the rest of this looks as good as the other side. Although once again, we do have another white terracotta wall we're going to have to deal with. And I'm looking from up here, I think I could do with a chimney or 2 over here as well. So let's get those bits added and then we'll see how we're looking. Well, I'd say we're looking pretty good. I think we're pretty much there now with the exteriors. We've got them done all the way round on this entire block. But of course, we still have absolutely zero interiors. But I am very pleased with how this block has come together. I've just fallen down the ledge. But there we go. So as we come down this street now, there will of course be a couple more buildings here to make it even more sort of cluttered and crowded down here. But as you go down, we've actually got some more buildings. The shops are ready for their signage and everything. And I just really like how this looks. And changing the height of the floor here as well, I think is really going to help. It's just a subtle thing, but otherwise everything's going to be really flat, and we definitely don't want that. But with that done, that means we can move on to this building here, because I do know what I want to put in here. And I think it's about time that we got the interior sorted. So we actually have 2 floors available to us here, which I don't really know what we're going to do with the upstairs. I'm probably just going to block off the ceiling, use it as additional storage further down the road. But I know what you're all asking. You're all wondering, what is it, Beardy? What are you going to put in there? What are you going to sell? And I think I'm going to make it a clothes shop, because I have leather that I really want to put to use. This is, of course, from our passive mob farm, and I've got 2 double chests of leather, which I think we can put to good use. And I was originally going to do it as a shiny armor shop, like something that's actually useful to people. But I think for this first one, we might actually just do it as a normal clothes shop. Mainly because I don't actually have any armor to sell. Although in saying that, my villager friends over here do in fact sell it for 1 emerald. And I think we've got, we can actually make full diamond sets. And combined with our librarians, we can actually make some pretty decent sets of armor. But for now, I think we are just going to focus on using up the leather. We can probably do a separate shop for actual shiny armor, but we'll just go for the look first. Which means we need to make a buttload of leather armor, and that should just about do it. So we've got a box of each armor type. We'll grab a bunch of dyes from our flower farms, pickle farm, and of course the cocoa bean farm, which isn't doing the bouncy thing anymore. Ah, that's a shame. I enjoyed that while it lasted. So we've got the armor, we've got the dyes, and I think on looking at the space here, what I might actually do, instead of selling sets of armor in specific colors and so on, is we might actually have some kind of a dye your own station. So we can have a few cauldrons, we can have an infinite source of water that we can refill it from, and just access to all the different dyes. And then anyone that comes in can pick up the leather, they can dye it whatever color they want, and then they can be on their way. I think that's going to be a nice way of doing this. So that means I need to go get myself a bunch of cauldrons, we'll grab some wood, and some other bits and bobs we're going to need to make this interior look nice. And I think upstairs what we can actually do is have like a showcase gallery type thing where we mix up some colours, because on Bedrock, if you mix the different colours of dyes in the cauldron, you actually get different shades and tones, and we can just have like a recipe book, so to speak, where we have a bunch of armor stands, different colours, and what mix of dyes was used to make that particular colour. Just to add a little bit more to the shop, and of course make use of the upstairs here. Otherwise it's going to be a little bit empty and redundant, I guess. So we'll grab some spruce, and that's basically the last of what I've got. That's not good. We'll grab some oak. Plenty of that. Excellent. We might even grab a bit of birch. I mean, you never know. We're also going to need a bunch of armor stands, and for that we need smooth stone. So, time to use the furnace. Not been here in a while. This is a sign that Liara's been here. There's an almost finished cake, but thank you very much for the cake. Let's get the collection cart on its way as well. Do your thing. I still love this. Probably the most inefficient smelter I've ever built, but I do love the look of it. So we can turn the smooth stone into slabs. We can turn some of the wood into sticks, and I've got no space. Oh dear. Let's get rid of that. And we can get a whole bunch of armor stands. I've still got no space. We don't need the flowers either. Why do we have all these things? So, what sort of layout do we want in here? I think one of the first things I might want is a shelf at the back here so we can put a few armor stands displaying the clothes to anyone walking past outside. So we'll utilize a bit of birch there and not on the sides because, well, you know, birch. And then we'll box this window in. That looks disgusting. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'll take down the birch. Birch was a bad idea. In fact, I think before I decide what to do with that, I'm actually going to swap out the floor. There's a massive cavern under here. Look at that. But let's get this swapped out for something that's a bit more, well, nice. Upper class, maybe? Should we use maybe a bit of dark oak? That always looks quite rich, doesn't it? It is a clothes shop after all, so maybe that is the way to go. So I need dark oak, which is the one wood I didn't bring with me. Typical. There we go. I think that's much nicer looking. Okay, so what are we going to do here? Something like that, maybe? And we could possibly even put a smaller armor stand in the middle, potentially. Can I get that in? Oh, guess the windows are coming out. But we could put one in the middle there as well. We will, of course, sort them out properly a little bit later. But for now, that just at least shows where we're going to put them. And to be honest, I think it makes sense to have some by this window as well. So maybe just a couple like this so they don't crowd the doorway too much. Need to bust out the window again. At least I'm using my silk touch this time. So I think this area down here is going to be our dyeing station, I guess. So we'll probably have a few cauldrons at the back here and then a wall of dyes here. We need 16 in total. So 4, 8, 12, 16. Yeah, that'll work perfectly if we were to use that chunk. And then that still leaves us some more display space over there for examples. Hello, Piggo. You can't come in here. This is not your place. So what we need to do is grab some of the trapdoors. Do I have trapdoors? I do already have trapdoors. Excellent. And we need a bunch of iron. I don't think I brought any iron with me. I did not bring iron with me. So if we maybe put 3 cauldrons here, that's probably enough for people to work with to make a few different colours if they're making a multicolored set. I mean, people might want a multicolored set. I don't know. I'm not their boss. But we need to make sure that option's available. So maybe we'll put either an avatar or an armor stand there. And then what I want to do is sort out the actual barrels. So that seems to work. We have all 16 barrels in, and there's only one we can't put a sign on, or 2 we can't put signs on, which, yeah, that could be a bit of a problem. Maybe I should actually just put these ones on top here. Okay, that could work better. Once we get some decoration in, that should all tie together nicely. And at least this way, we can put a sign on the front of every single one, letting people know what colours are what. Now we need to work out where to put an infinite water source. And I think for that, might actually remove him altogether. Then if we were to put ice there and there, get that pillar back in there, and trapdoors, that's what I need. So if I was to use trapdoors across that bit there, in theory, that should give us infinite water. Excellent. Okay, I think that's going to work quite nicely. I like that. So we also need somewhere to store the actual armor itself. So I guess that's the next problem. Where do we put that? Maybe just a simple shelving unit here is all it needs for the armor itself. And then we've still got a little bit of display space here, I guess. I think I'm done with the downstairs layout. Of course, we do still need to put all the details in. We need the signage. We do need to make sure we've got this area looking good all round. But as a layout, I think that's going to work quite nicely. Now we just need to sort out upstairs, which should, in theory, be a little bit simpler. Maybe something like this, and we can put armor stands on these. We can have chains and lanterns above them, maybe. And we only need a chest plate of each one, just to illustrate the colour. We don't need to do whole armor sets or anything like that. And this will also leave space for a sign, so people know exactly what colours we've actually used on any particular mix. We've got enough space for 8 armor stands up here, which I think should be plenty. And down here we've got a few more, and yep, just taking even more frames away from this area. But that's absolutely fine. It'll look good, right? So I'm going to spend a bit of time faffing around, getting some smaller details in, trying to make this look a little bit nicer. Then this place is going to be one step closer to being open. Not that anyone is ever going to actually buy anything, but that's not the point. I think she saw me eat the cake. Well, following that, I suppose I might as well give you an update. We are adding some dyes, basically, to the boxes currently. I think I've made a bit of progress around here. It's definitely looking better. The signs are up. We've got all of our armor. And I have, of course, also added horse armor as well. Although we've done absolutely zero decoration on the armor stands themselves yet. I also still need to add a couple of signs explaining how it works and what to actually do. But overall, I think this is going to work quite well. I just need to get some more dyes into these boxes because some are still very, very empty. So I think I've got all the signs in. I've got some flowery decorations, some other bits and bobs just to make it a little bit more detailed. And of course, I have put some stuff on the shelves just to fill that in. But there are instructions on what to do as well. But basically, you grab a clothing item from over here, you grab your dyes that you want, and then you use the cauldrons. So what we're actually going to do is quickly make some for the window display over there. And to be honest, I just want to do a pure black suit to begin with. So let's quickly do that. And we'll get this one added in the window. Absolutely perfect. And I think we're just going to do a plain red one to stand next to him as well. We'll stick that on this side. and then a magenta one in the middle. However, I do want to adjust those armor stands, and conveniently, we actually do that with dies. So if I stand here and give him some arms, remove the base plate, and then this one here, I'm actually going to make it a little bit shorter. Perfect. And I believe, is it this one here? Yes, it is. There we go. We can even sit one of the armor stands down. Perfect. And from outside, I think that pretty much shows what is being sold in there, so that works a treat. And there we go, a few more examples. I think we are looking good, at least on the downstairs. However, let's put the bucket back. However, we do, of course, still need to sort the upstairs. So up here, as I say, the plan was to have some sort of example shades that we can do. Well, personally, I think this has actually worked really, really well. We've managed to get a various selection here of sort of different mixes. So we've got purple and black and orange and yellow and so on, and we've got a few more around here. I did quite a lot of experimenting and just picked out some of the better ones that came out. And to be honest, I really like the pastel two over here. I think they work really well together. But that also brings all this upstairs bit to a close. I think we're sorted up there, and we're sorted down here as well, which means we're almost ready to open. There's just one more thing we need to do, which once again, let's put the bucket back again. I have a feeling I should maybe put some extra buckets in these barrels, because that's going to happen a lot. I mean, I've done it every time I've used it so far. So on the outside, we've got a couple of models, but we need to get a sign in, and this is what's actually going to tell people what we sell in here, and I'm hoping I can do some armor stand magic. So in theory, if I do this, the armor stand should no longer be affected by gravity, which is something we want, so excellent, that works. Next up, we want to make this thing as giant as it can be, so that is that size. And then we're going to lower it a bunch for now, so that we can get an extra chain or two in. That's it, keep going. And now we can raise it back up again into the chain. There we go. And what we need to do now is change that. And hopefully we can make this work. Let's grab, I don't have any white dye in there. Right, here we go. So that should make it invisible. And look at that. Wow, that works even better than I was hoping. Look at that. That's amazing. I love it. So the last thing I need to do is that, which will lock it. So now that cannot be... Right, okay, well that didn't work. Let's try that again. So with that, I think that is, in fact, another shop open. We just need two more finishing touches. The first one, of course, is a name. What are we going to call this place? As usual, Mrs. B saves the day. Beardy's Boutique, it is excellent. But if it's Beardy's Boutique, it's missing one more thing. And I think you all know what that is. And that is, of course, a Beardy avatar. And I do wonder, can we make them... You can. You can actually make them say stuff. How cool is that? And with that, Beardy's Boutique is now open for business. Excellent stuff. I'm very pleased with that, and especially this sign out the side. That really works well. The armor stands are just pure magic. And hopefully we can get some shops in these buildings soon as well. It might actually be worth me inviting one or two of the other TB members over to fill up some of these, because, well, we've got an awful lot, and I do want to make sure that all the buildings here have an interior of some kind, which is a lofty goal, I know. I say it every season, and I never do it. But maybe this season will be different. Who knows? Oh yeah, this one's empty as well. But I think, as we said before, we're probably going to turn this one into a flower shop. We just need to make some more farms, but that's going to have to be on the next episode, because sadly that's all we've got time for today. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I hope to see you all on the next one. Bye-bye now.